Everyone, welcome back. We are dissecting a tale today that has shocked the tennis community as a whole. We are not only discussing an unexpected injury, an unexpected match outcome, or a contentious call made on the court. We are discussing an off-court occurrence that is compelling tournament directors, sports economists, and the Women's Tennis Association to entirely revise their strategies. Today's news, which is unprecedented in recent tennis history, revolves around Alexandria, a 20-year-old superstar from the Philippines. Here's a headline that has the sports world talking if you're just watching. Within an hour of being made available, all of the tickets for Alex Eala's forthcoming matches in the 2026 Miami Open were sold out. I'll say it again since it takes some time to realize how big this is. Every seat that was available, every VIP package, and every general admission pass allotted for a scheduled court appearance disappeared within 60 minutes of the digital box office opening. You must comprehend the typical economics of a massed 1,000 tournament, typically in the early rounds of a tournament, in order to comprehend why the WTA is currently in complete astonishment. Even a major event like the Miami Open, which took place at the enormous Hard Rock Stadium complex. The sales curve for tickets is predictable. Passes to the grounds may be purchased by fans. For a night session with a great veteran or the current world number one, they might swarm to the stadium court. However, a digital stampede is rarely, if ever, triggered by early round matches for players who are not in the top 5. Ticketing platforms are not built to withstand a surge of demand brought on by a single player's draw, but rather to manage consistent traffic. However, the system saw a surge akin to a huge pop concert when the 2026 Miami Open schedule was revealed, displaying Alex Eala as a number 31 seed. According to reports, the number of ticketing prompts quickly reached tens of thousands. As fans frantically attempt to get a vantage point, secondary market platforms are already witnessing a 400 to 500% increase in resale value. We are witnessing a degree of ardor and instantaneous box office mobilization that is often only seen in the sport's ultimate titans. The world's greatest Serenas, Federers, and Nadals. However, this is Alex Eala. She is 20 years old. As of this Monday, she is ranked 29th in the world, a career high, having recently broken into the WTA top 30. She does not currently possess a senior Grand Slam trophy. However, her ability to draw has surpassed that of nearly every other current player on the circuit. The Miami Open executives are in a panic. Court reassignments are currently the subject of hectic behind-closed-door deliberations. Is it possible to relocate early round games to a bigger stadium? For a player who has effectively turned into a one-woman stimulus package for the local Miami economy, how do they manage the overwhelming level of foot traffic and security requirements? She made history on these same hard courts just a year ago for the Filipino diaspora worldwide, particularly for the sizable Filipino-American community in Florida and throughout the United States, which is why this is happening now and in Miami in particular. Miami is more than just another tennis destination. It's sacred territory. An unproven, unrecognized, 140th ranked kid from the Rafa Nadal Academy entered the 2025 Miami Open on a wild card and went on to become the most incredible Cinderella run in women's tennis history in 10 years. She won more than a few fights. She took giants apart. Grand Slam winners were sent packing by her. She captivated a whole country and brought tennis to a whole new, fervently enthusiastic audience. As she advanced from the qualifications to the semifinals last year, the crowd grew naturally. Word got out. People traveled over state lines by car. However, the sense of surprise has vanished this year. The fans are well organized. They have high expectations. They have marked their calendars. And they struck with tremendous power when the window opened. This 60-minute sellout is more than just a symbol of patriotism. It is a clear sign of a radical change in tennis's marketability and viewership. The next generation of transcendent worldwide stars has been sought for by the WTA. Athletes who not only succeed but also attract attention, change the game, and generate new revenue. The box office figures for today unequivocally demonstrate that Alex Eala is a star. The establishment is in disbelief. The conventional measures used to forecast crowd attendance have been completely destroyed. The unquestionable arrival of the ELA impact is what we are seeing. An irresistible commercial force is created by the combination of dazzling talent and regional loyalty. Beyond the corporate shock and the tickets craze, however, a huge sporting story is taking place. Alex Eala is carrying an entirely new responsibility as she returns to the location of her greatest victory. She has nothing to lose and is no longer the underdog. She has a huge mountain of ranking points to defend, is a seeded player, and is a known threat. She is currently under enormous strain. Every forehand she makes carries the dreams of millions. Additionally, she must negotiate one of the tournament's most perilous draws, which might put her in direct competition with the very giant she defeated the previous year. How do we get here, then? In precisely 1 year, how can a player go from being a wildcard qualifier to smashing the box office? What does this signify for her future matches, her ranking, and her career path? Above all, would she be able to cope with the oppressive pressure of performing in front of a sold-out, eager audience? Let's delve deeply into historical statistics and Alex Eala's impending psychological struggle. We must thoroughly examine the environment surrounding Alex in order to fully appreciate the scope of this one-hour sellout. There is more to this than just tennis. It has to do with the arithmetic of the WTA ranking system, changing demographics, sports economics, and the sheer development of a generational talent. It is impossible to talk about the 2026 Miami Open without paying respectful homage to the ghost of 2025. Alexa, at 19 years old, was ranked 140th in the world when she came to Florida last year. She was a well-known graduate of the esteemed Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, a regarded prospect, and a past US Open girls singles champion. However, professional domination is not a prerequisite for junior success. Teenage prodigies perish on the transition to the senior circuit. Eala entered the main draw with a wild card. All statistical probability was rejected by what transpired. She was more than a survivor. Against players with far more power and experience, she excelled. She methodically defeated seasoned pros like Katie Volanitz in the early rounds. Her complete bravery in the face of Grand Slam royalty was the real turning moment, not the enormous murders. She outwitted Yelena Ostapenko, the 2017 French Open champion, who is renowned for her fearsome baseline aggression. She next faced American powerhouse Madison Keys head-to-head, absorbing her pace and skillfully rerouting it to move on to the fourth round. The match that put Eala's name in the annals of history was the masterpiece. Her quarter-final battle against then-world number 2 Iga Swiatek laid the groundwork for today's ticket craze. Swiatek was an unbeatable stronghold on the baseline and a 5-time Grand Slam champion. Eala had the game of her life, defeating Swiatek 6-2, 7-5. Using aggressive court positioning and outstanding defensive tenacity, it was a tactical masterclass. In the heartbreaking semifinals, she lost 7-6, 5-7, and 6-3 to world number 4 Jessica Pegula. Eala demonstrated that she belongs at the highest level of the sport, even in defeat. She went from obscurity to international fame in just one event. She became the first Filipina in history to break through that barrier as her ranking shot up from 140 to the top 75. It laid the groundwork for all that is currently taking place. Today's ticket sales demonstrate that the WTA is currently gazing at a gold mine. In the past, spectators from Europe and America have dominated tennis. However, the expansion of the sport in Asia, especially Southeast Asia, represents an unexplored pool of fervent, intensely involved supporters. Eala's matches at the Dubai Tennis Championships were sold out, which is unusual for non-finals matches in that area. This was one of the first indications of this. Even for her late-night second-round matches at Indian Wells earlier this month, we witnessed it. Thousands of raucous and flag-waving fans crowded Stadium 3. Eala publicly remarked how extremely rare and remarkable it is to see stadiums that full for early round games with Coco Gauff, whom she fought and defeated following Gauff's tragic retirement in Indian Wells. Tournament directors are taking use of the actual ELA effect. A player demands premium court placement when they provide this degree of guaranteed attendance. They influence local broadcast ratings, food and beverage consumption, and product sales. Due to their underestimation of last year's residual loyalty, the Miami Open executives are today in disbelief. They believed that 2025 might have been a passing fad. The 2026 ticket sales demonstrate the movement's sustainability and rapid growth. Let's now shift our focus from economics to the brutal realities of professional tennis. The WTA rolling 52-week ranking system is a cruel mathematical mechanism that lies behind the flash, glamour, and packed arenas. That formula is currently breathing down Alex's neck. You must comprehend how tennis points operate in order to comprehend why the next 2 weeks are the most crucial of her fledgling career. Points are not simply accumulated by players indefinitely. They must defend the points they received precisely a year ago. A player's top 18 event results over a 52-week period are used by the method. This is Alex Eala's harsh existence. She now sits at a career-high world number 29 with 1,525 points going into Miami. Just finished a strong run at Indian Wells to the round of 16. She received an incredible 390 points for her Miami semifinal run exactly 52 weeks ago. The danger? Those 390 points are eliminated from her total as soon as the 2026 Miami Open gets underway. She is not functioning at full capacity. Her live rating drastically drops if those points are subtracted at this moment, falling almost 20 spots to about number 49 in the live real-time rankings. This is a breakout season's ultimate double-edged sword. You ascend the mountain, but precisely 1 year later, unless you ascend it once more, the ground collapses beneath you. Eala cannot afford to leave early. She will have a disastrous decline in the official rankings if she loses in the first round, falling out of the top 30 and possibly out of the top 50. This has an impact on her momentum overall, her seeding at the forthcoming French Open, and her ability to enter elite competitions without participating in qualifying. Demanding a repeat of last year's miracle, it's a high-stakes high-wire act performed in front of a packed stadium. What is her strategy for protecting those points, then? Eala has gained a significant advantage, a first-round bye, as the number 31 or 32 seed, depending on final revisions. She instantly advances to the round of 64, automatically earning at least 10 points. The second round, 64th round. She will start her campaign against either 20-year-old Croatian rising sensation Petra Marino or 38-year-old German veteran Laura Siegend. Siegend slices, net play, and challenging, traditional variation can throw off rhythm. Marino provides fresh, unadulterated aggression. Here, Eala is the favorite, and a victory earns her 65 points, which will help her move back up the live rankings. The third round, 32 round. The Colossus in the distance. Eala is headed straight for a rematch that will break viewership records if she takes care of her business. She is expected to take on IG Swiatek, the second seed and currently ranked second or third in the globe. The tournament's main story revolves around this possible third-round encounter. Swiatek is going to search for blood. She will never forget the humiliation of losing to a wild card in the quarterfinals of the previous year. Swiatek is a tenacious, meticulous fighter who will have spent the past year dissecting Eala's strategy. On the other hand, Eala needs to demonstrate that 2025 wasn't an anomaly. She must enter a packed stadium, stare at one of this generation's best players from across the net, and repeat the entire process. Eala will need to rely on the major improvements she has made to her game over the past 12 months in order to pull this off. She hasn't rested on her laurels after her success in Miami. A particular kind of grit, a persistent baseline physicality, is instilled throughout training at the Rafael Nadal Academy. However, Eala has improved her game by adding layers. She now has more free points thanks to her higher first serve percentage, which is essential when attempting to make it through the second week of a Masters 10,000 event. Her ability to switch between defense and offensive has improved. She's not only counterpunching anymore. By seizing the ball early on the rise to take advantage of her opponent's response time, she is controlling play. She will require all of this tactical maturity. There is no longer any element of surprise. She is now covered in tape in the changing room. Coaches have devised strategies to take advantage of her shortcomings. As we anticipate the opening serves of the 2026 Miami Open, the real test of a champion is not how they show up on the scene but rather how they react when the rest of the tour adjusts to them. The story is built up flawlessly. A passionate fan base is driving a historic ticketing phenomenon that is radically altering the professional tennis scene. In addition to the tremendous mathematical burden of defending her breakthrough points, we have a young celebrity bearing the weight of a whole country. Additionally, our draw virtually ensures blockbuster cinematic matchups from the start. It makes sense that the WTA was shocked by this one-hour sellout, but it also serves as a warning. It is impossible to overlook the commercial and cultural gravitas that comes with the complete arrival of the Alex Eala era. The stadium at Hard Rock will be electrifying. It will be overwhelmingly loud. There will be oppressive expectations. Is she able to replicate the magic? Can she play with the same fearless delight that enthralled the globe a year ago while facing a huge ranking drop? Or will the pressure, the target on her back, and the fact that she is it